It is a beautiful, rainy summer's day in Linden, and there are so many people using the trams right now. It's actually kind of wild, and I'm actually really pleased about it, but it's all going to be for nothing if we don't solve some of the problems around the city. Well, specifically, it's going to be for nothing if we don't solve this garbage problem. And I have a bit of an idea for how we're going to do that. I'm going to go back on some of what I've said before about the incineration plant. I have a theory that it might be bugged, but it also might kind of work. And we'll talk about that in just a second, because I do want to point out that aside from like this one person, aside from this one building, none of my commercial buildings are complaining about there not being enough customers. And that's because yesterday, if you're watching this on the day that it goes out, that being November 2nd, 2023, there was a hotfix for City Skylines II, which addressed a bunch of things, including the fact that there was some imbalance. Okay, now there's two of them. There's two of them complaining about it. But anyway, this is actually me having a problem. This is me causing this complaint. There was a fix that dealt with the imbalance in the whole not enough customers thing, and as you can see, it seems to have worked, and now the city is no longer complaining about it. It's just everybody else is complaining about high rent, which is something we'll deal with as well a little bit later on. Now, when it comes to garbage processing, if we have a look at the landfill here, it is currently full. It has 971 out of 962 tons of stored garbage. It's processing 1.57 tons per month, which I think essentially means it will get rid of 1.56 tons of garbage per month, which is essentially kind of useless in the case of a landfill. Landfills, however, are the slowest garbage building when it comes to getting rid of garbage, though, so that also kind of makes sense. If we look at the recycling center, it's a similar story. 112 tons out of 100. It processes 11 tons per month. And if we go into the garbage management panel in general, we can see that we're processing about 13 tons of garbage per month. We are generating 194. So long story short, we're just not getting rid of garbage quick enough. And that's part of why we're having these problems, because these guys aren't really sending out trucks because they have nowhere to store the garbage. So the garbage piles up in the city. So how do we fix that? Well, there is some good news. We've leveled the city up again. We're now a huge city. We have 63 tiles that we could purchase, which honestly, I will eventually. I just don't really see a need because we're probably going to need to build another suburb here anyway. And we've got all this space. I don't have a need for 63 more tiles just yet. And honestly, I'm not going to buy the mountain ones anyway. We'll probably buy all through this valley and down into this valley, this one and this one, but the entire map, probably not. But I'm getting sidetracked again is what I'm doing right here. The point that I'm trying to get to essentially is that there is an industrial waste processing building for 8 development points. Now, this thing's description says that it processes, or it's a processing facility that collects and handles toxic waste products resulting from industrial production. As a result, the ground pollution produced by industrial buildings is lowered. So that's all that this thing says in here. And I didn't bother getting this thing because ground pollution hasn't really been a problem. But then I got thinking, well, hold on a second. We probably do want that because you can go and look at the description of it and you can see it has a capacity of 500 tons of garbage. It processes 50 tons per month. So that's kind of a big deal. That's kind of a good thing. It's also $6.3 million, which is good because we do need to burn through some money. But if we go and look at the incineration plant, it only has a capacity of 150 tons, but it processes 40 tons per month. So in theory, we could add 90 tons of processing to our garbage processing status by building those two buildings, and that's without upgrading them. So that's what I want to do to get started today. I want to go ahead and expand the landfill area with an incineration plant and the advanced waste processing thing, the industrial waste processing site. So that's what we're going to do. Now, the reason this is a bit of a weird thing for me to be doing is because I've mentioned in the past that I'm pretty sure the incineration plant is bugged and I'm pretty sure that it generates garbage, but I think we can counteract that. This is where my theory comes in. I think we can counteract that if we have enough garbage processing capacity. So that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to go ahead and just flatten a huge area here. I've also disconnected this thing intentionally. That's 100% on purpose, because the zoning along this road was a little bit weird. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and build the industrial waste processing site right about here. So it's right up against everything. And then what we can do is connect these roads together. And as you can see, the zoning got weird again. So that's why I did that in the first place. And then what I'm going to do is bring a road sort of down around the back of this thing and sort of hope for the best. I'm actually going to just run it right up against the building, so the zoning will get weird again, which is totally okay. And we'll just sort of bring this guy back. We'll line this up against the back of the building. We'll chop out these guys. We can run this over to about there as well. And I'm going to get rid of some of the landfill because I don't think we need all of it. So we have a little node right there. We'll just take out all of these ones, although apparently that's going to make the area too small. Can I not get rid of these? Is that a thing that I can't get rid of these nodes for some reason? Oh boy. All right. Cities is apparently on one today. That's good. Can I do it this way? No, area too small. Really? Okay, so I can expand it, but I can't delete them. Is that because this thing is full? I think that's what's going on. I think this thing being full is going to give us problems and it's not going to let me shrink the landfill. Yeah, so it turns out that's exactly what was going on. I just had to extend things sort of around this way, square this thing off, and this is basically what I'm looking for, which is totally fine. So the next thing we want to do is get an incineration plant, and it is going to live right about here. This is why we had to shrink things down a little bit. And I'm going to just bring a road sort of out and around this guy, a little something like this. And I'm going to make that into a one-way road for absolutely zero reason. I just like the idea of having the traffic go around like this. And then the industrial waste processing site is going to be flipped around so it faces that way, which means trucks going to both of these buildings have to go out and around, which is a bit weird, but I'm sort of here for it. And honestly, that's fine. So the landfill is now emptying. It has a bit of extra space as well, which is totally fine. We have this guy, which can process. You know what I realized I've just done? I've just built these things and not upgraded them. Now, this thing has no upgrades. This one, on the other hand, has a garbage truck depot, which can go in there. It has storage extensions, which have to be built around the sides. And it has the extra furnace, which we can build on the back, which is totally fine. So I'm actually going to take out these couple of roads, and I'm going to go ahead and build some storage extensions onto this guy, because I think that would be a really good idea so that we can store a little bit more garbage in here than we otherwise would. So that's what I'm looking for these guys. We can go ahead and just bring the roads sort of out and around this whatever way I want to, which is basically just going to be out and around the way it sort of was. Bit of a longer one-way road, bit pointless, but honestly, I'm kind of here for it. And then if we look at the landfill, I can probably go ahead and expand this guy just a little bit, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So we'll get ourselves a node right about there. And can I bring one straight across? I absolutely can. We'll go to there. We'll bring this one up to about there. And I'm sort of okay with that. I don't mind it. Yes, it's not the prettiest looking thing. It's a pretty ugly looking landfill. But I'm sort of here for it. I could probably just take out a bunch of these nodes actually and just have a diagonal across there. I don't think I mind that too much. I might do the same here, and I'm going to keep that one as a right angle just because I can. Yeah, I don't mind that too much. I think that's totally fine. I'm going to put some trees around this. I'm probably going to put some parking lots in here as well. In fact, maybe I should push these nodes back just a teeny tiny little bit to get some parking lots in there. That might not be a bad idea. I need to turn off 90-degree angles, though. I think maybe I just need to turn off everything. I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit tricky, actually. I might want the 90-degree angles back on. So this needs to be here, and this one needs to be, it's 91. That's about 90 there. That's perfect. That'll let me get a parking lot right up against this, which is what we want. So we'll go in here, we'll go to here, and we'll get ourselves, I think a medium parking lot's probably fine. The large one does have a fence around it, though, and I feel like the fence probably makes sense here. I have seen a lot of people on Reddit and Twitter complaining about all of the park assets having fences. I completely agree that it's a bit weird, but this is one situation where I think fences around a parking lot that probably makes sense given the context of what we've built. So now, in theory, we shouldn't have any garbage problems, and we can also connect this thing for a bit of extra power generation. So let's go into here. Let's get ourselves a power line. We'll go underground, and I'm basically going to just connect this thing straight across this way, because if we keep going across, this is where our power lines are. So over to here, and we'll just go to right about there. And so that'll be a bit of extra power generation, which is absolutely fantastic. And if we let the simulation run, we should see, and we do see, a bunch of garbage trucks heading out. They'll start collecting things from everywhere, including the wastewater treatment plants. and including the rest of the city. And in no time at all, we can see that all of the demands, all of the complaints about garbage have gone away. So our little upgrade over here, which I've decided to go ahead and surround with trees and fix the land around, has absolutely worked. Even if our garbage processing isn't quite maxed out, we're still generating a lot of garbage, but I think we have the space to store it. And I think we've reached a nice little middle ground here. Honestly, I could build more incineration plants, and honestly, we probably will. We absolutely will. We only have, 69,000, nice, thousand. I had to. We only have, we have nearly 70,000 people here in Linden. It's going to be higher than that eventually. So we're absolutely going to need to stay on top of garbage, but it's good that this is doing the job. I like that it's out of the way, and I like that it's able to get in and out of the city without too much trouble, even if we do have some traffic problems here and there, such as whatever's gone on here. Apparently 2 trucks have run into each other. They've also run someone over. That's, oh no. It's a senior as well. That's not good. That's, yeah. All right then. Right, wait, arriving vehicles, medical helicopter. Hello? What? I forgot we had these. It's a really nice looking helicopter too. It's really loud. Good Lord. It is a nice looking helicopter. I don't know why we're sending out I've never watched one of these land in City Skylines 2 before. That's really, it just lands on the person and takes them away. Okay. All right. Well, fair enough. We've got medical helicopters. That's news to me. Honestly, we might need more healthcare coverage. I'm noticing a lot of complaints and a lot of people waiting for ambulances. I'm also noticing a lot of crime complaints as well. So I think it might be an idea to take apart some of Hawthorne Grove. Like I talked about in the last episode, I do want to go in here and I do want to get the central bank, but I think we might also want to get our hands on, I don't necessarily want to do another hospital since we have one down here, although it might not hurt. It is a good looking building. It is expensive. I suppose it wouldn't hurt to have another hospital. Although in saying that, we do have some development points. We could go in here. We could get the medical university, which will increase the efficiency of healthcare service buildings. It's only 2 development points. The technical university will increase the efficiency of offices and industrial companies as well. It's another 2 development points. That leaves me 2 to play with. I might do the Firewatch Tower into the firefighting helicopter depot. Might not be a bad idea. What else have we got in here? We could do water. I don't think we need it, but we could do water. We've got nothing in there that we need. We can't get anything in there. We can't get anything in there. Nothing in here either. We could do the emergency battery station, which I don't know if we need that either. I think we're just going to save our development points, kind of like how we're saving our map tile, whatever they're called, points, I guess. Anyway, I think what I'm going to do here is tear apart a pretty large chunk of the city here. And I don't think it's going to be a popular option, but it's basically going to be all of this is going to go away. That's going to be a lot of Sims getting displaced. That's a lot of businesses getting kicked out of here as well. It's a lot of land that we're taking back. And I think if we zoom in, we should see all of the Sims getting booted out of their houses and their businesses and just walking around now. I think I might be wrong on that. I think I am wrong on that. Oh no, you can see some of them. Yeah, you can. Oh yeah. You can see them. You can see them. All right. It's going to be a lot of people really annoyed, but I do kind of need the land. So my game is running a crawl. Oh my God, it's running a crawl. That was an autosave that caused it to hitch there. But yeah, it doesn't like the amount of Sims that I've just pushed out of those buildings, I don't think. And it's probably not going to like the fact that I've just taken them off roads as well. Good Lord. Okay. Let's keep in mind that this is a one-way road going in here. So if I just take out this, traffic can sort of go up and around, which is fine. This is a huge chunk of land that I'm taking back. I try not to do this, but sometimes I've just got to. Now, for the connection to this place, I'm thinking it probably is just going to be, is this a one-way road? That is a one-way road. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll come off of here the way we've done before. We're going to be going to about there. We're going to cut across and connect like so. We will absolutely upgrade the sidewalks on this thing, but I'm also going to say that it's going to connect to this little pedestrian street so that we have got a way for people to sort of walk around there. I'm not really too, ooh, hold on a minute. That pedestrian street actually probably does need to be turned into a one-way road so traffic can kind of come in here, go down, go up here and around this new block, which is totally fine by me. So that's kind of what we're going to do there. I can also let the simulation run now to hopefully clear these sims out. In fact, oh my God, that's so many people. Let's give the game a minute to figure out what it's going to do with all of these people, because I have no idea. Oh my God. Wow. This is, I knew this happened in City Skylines 2. I've never seen it happen before. It's honestly, the game could be running worse, all things considered, but those are some huge groups of sims. Where are they all going to go? Probably towards, I would imagine towards public transport, right? Anyway, when it comes to the central bank, it is a really cool looking building. I kind of just want to put it here. So we're sort of extending this relatively open area for a bunch of relatively important buildings. And I do think it looks pretty good there. It does extend things nicely. This thing, I don't think has any upgrades, which is perfectly fine by me. It actually does look really cool in this space. I've also got an opportunity to just sort of continue my weird little park thing that I have going on, which I'm very excited about. But what I can also do here is bring some roads sort of back behind this thing. And I 100% think that's something I'm going to do. I'm going to bring a road sort of down here. I'm going to bring a road sort of down here. And that's going to give me some space to put paths around this for people to walk along, which I think is going to be relatively important. And then I'm probably going to surround this thing with most likely, oh, I wonder if can I do this? I absolutely can do this. I think I'm going to surround this thing with some more high-rise buildings. I know I said I was trying to stay away from that, but I do think the central bank should have some higher density buildings around it. But before we even do that, can I by chance get a police headquarters into this space? Is it a little too big for this? It is a little bit. It is definitely a little bit on the large side, but I could sort of squeeze it in somewhere like this if I wanted to, and still get some higher density buildings as well, which I do think I'm going to do. So this road's going to go, this path is going to go. And then the police headquarters, this thing can also be upgraded, right? It can be upgraded with an extended garage, extra jail cells, and a helipad. Interesting. Do I want to put it right there? I don't 100% know that I do want to put it right there. I almost want to say that this central bank should have some of these higher density buildings around it first, and then something like a police helicopter or a police headquarters. So would it fit in here? It would not. The roads are a little bit too close together. Okay, what about in here? Is there anywhere I could build this thing where I'm not going to have to sort of redo roads? I guess I could take out this chunk of buildings if I wanted to and sort of continue through, but I think for now we'll hold off. I think we'll put that road back in. We'll put the path back in. We'll just commit to the higher density buildings for the time being. And we'll see where the police headquarters is going to go a little bit later on. And after the game crashed once or twice, or maybe 3 times, and I had to rebuild this once or twice, or maybe 3 times, we now have a bit of a skyline over here. And I kind of like how it's turned out. Aside from these buildings in here, they're really not what I'm looking for. Basically, I've got a nice little mix of European and North American style buildings in here. These ones, however, no. We're going to be getting rid of those and replacing them with whatever builds in that space. And the reason I did that, honestly, is just for a bit of variety. Looking at this cluster of towers versus this one is super repetitive. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the same building right there. I think that's all there are of that one building. Whereas over here, I am struggling a little bit to see this. Oh, wait, no, there's 1, 2, 3 of the same right there. There's like 2 of this. Anyway, there's more variety in this cluster because I've broken up the zone space with North American and European buildings. I'm not nitpicking the game. I'm just saying that, because I didn't do that over here, it's a lot of the same buildings. As we can see right here, that's something I might want to go and fix at some point, but right now it's not really a big deal. It's not the end of the world. What is a bit of a problem though is the fact that traffic here is struggling. Definitely struggling, to the point that I might honestly go ahead and replace this entire road going around the university with a one-way road. might not be a terrible idea. It might get traffic moving a little bit. It might be a terrible idea. It might not be a good idea, but I'm definitely going to give it a shot, and we're going to see what exactly it does. It might also mean that I need to, let's turn you around so you go that way. Let's have you go that way. This one's now going to come down here, and then it needs to go sort of down here. Now, is that something we want to do? Because what I've done here is this road comes in, this one goes out. So how would you get up? Yeah, there's two roads going out now. Oh wait, no, this one's an avenue, so that's fine. You can go in here. I don't know that that's a good idea. I think this road might have to be a 2-lane road, but we want it to maybe be 2 lanes coming down, 1 going up. I don't know if that is a good idea, but we're going to give it a shot because this entire road here, this one can be turned around as well. So 2 lanes going up there. This one can stay as is, and we'll see what that does. Sort of pushing traffic around like that might be a good thing. It might be a bad thing. I just need to make sure that they can still get up and down through these spaces, so they can still loop around what we've just built. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And wouldn't you know that it's not really doing what I hoped it would do. Now, there is a little trick that I've read about on the internet where apparently if you select a road type and just sort of double click in the middle of a road, you create a node. And in doing that, I absolutely have now broken this section of road into 2 segments, which means I should be able to do this. And we now have a couple more asymmetrical lanes and all that good stuff. So in theory, some of this traffic, oh wait, no, that isn't going to do anything because this is a one-way road coming in here. So that's actually pointless is what that is. So let's go ahead then and flip this into an asymmetrical road going up. That gives us 1 turning lane and 1 lane for going straight on. That might help us out just a little bit. It might help the traffic sort of filter through a little bit more. I'm not really expecting miracles here. There is going to be a lot of traffic coming around this space because we now have all of this high density space, but I'm hoping I can play around with lanes just a little bit to get a little something going on here. The last thing I want to do is flip this over into a 2-way road. I don't know why I don't want to do that. I just don't really want to do that. Oh, so it turns out all I had to do was flip this road around into a 3-lane 1-way road coming out of here. And that seems to have solved all of our problems. We do, however, have a decent little chunk of traffic over here, and we do have a lot of traffic moving around here. And we do have a bit of a traffic jam here, apparently, which is not ideal. But we're slowly moving it around, and I do think a little bit more public transport will probably help things out. I'm also noticing we have a gap in these buildings here for some reason, so I'm going to bulldoze you guys, and apparently that doesn't want to zone for some reason. What is that that zoning? I think that's just, is that just high density? Yeah, it's just high density North American commercial zoning, so let's just rezone this entire space. I don't think I'm going to get anything in here that's going to do, well, I don't know about that. I don't know that that's better. I don't know that that's better. It's definitely not better. Let's see. Maybe I just, oh, we've got a gap on the other side as well. Okay. I don't like it. I don't like that there's a gap there, but I think what we can maybe do is just go ahead and punch a little path through here. And I suppose that will fix things, arguably. I mean, it's not really a fix, but it gives reason to, you know, for the gap to exist. So I guess that'll do. It lets people kind of get across if that's a thing that they want to do. Although in saying that, I'm very tempted to take over that space, which I might do if I can happen to fit a police headquarters in there. Is that something I can do? It is annoyingly not something I can do without getting rid of one of the roads, which I'd rather not do. Although, if I did get rid of one of the roads, say, well, I can't get rid of this one because it's part of the universe. Well, I could. I guess I could get rid of it and go for a little bit of asymmetry in there, which I wouldn't be against doing. I could put the police headquarters sort of on this parking lot and then have a fire headquarters back. You know what? Oh, this is a good idea. This might be a bad idea, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to take out these guys. I'm going to take out these guys. I'm going to take out that building. I'm going to get rid of this park, and I'm going to take over this space as well. Now, I have done some detailing in here, so this does sort of annoy me that I'm doing this, and I might come to regret it, but I'm willing to give this a shot. So all of that zoning needs to go away. All of my paths need to go away as well. I even put some trees in here. I was planning on keeping this, but I might be onto something here. All right, so we're going to have a bunch of people that are going to be kicked out of their buildings and probably walking towards the paths again, which is fine. But I also now need to get rid of some road sections. So these guys need to go away, which is all right. This road now needs to be shuffled over by a single tile. So I'm going to get rid of you, and I'm going to get rid of you. And that means that this intersection up here is going to be a little bit nasty looking. But again, the goal is to kind of squeeze a police headquarters into this space. So as awful as this is going to look, it does serve the greater good, which is kind of what we're looking for. Say it with me, the greater good. So I'm kind of willing to allow this. I actually probably don't even want this road here now that I think about it. So this comes over, this comes down. It can cut straight across there, which it's not gonna do. This road sort of comes down that way. Oh, it might make a bit of sense to flip this one-way road around. This road doesn't serve too many purposes now. I mean, it doesn't really do much. Neither of these guys are on this road. This road's just sort of a more straight shot down. So maybe what we do is say that this is one lane and this is one lane. So we have two dedicated lanes coming off of this one going here, one going lower. There's not really any reason for two roads there, but I don't want to bulldoze too much. I guess actually this road probably will need more than the single lane on it, because that's the road where I'm thinking the police headquarters is going to go, which is, that's the fire station, which is this guy, which is still too big. Oh, I didn't measure it properly. All right, that's what you got. That's what you get. Measure once, cut twice. That's the lesson there. All right. So what we'll do is get the police headquarters right on this corner. And then somehow I need to squeeze a road down through here. I'm not 100% sure I can do this because that little corner is going to be really nasty, but we're gonna try is what we're going to do. So this is coming over. This is coming down. This is going to there. And oh, bless you, Cities Skylines 2 and your little tiny connections like that. That is exactly what we need. So now we can go ahead and put the grass back on the inside. We can put the wide sidewalk. I thought it was going to crash again. We can put the wide sidewalks on the outside. I don't really want people parking here, so I'm going to just say grass on both of those. And we'll do, you know what? We'll do the wide sidewalk in there as well, actually, just because it's up against the precinct. So that'll be fine. We'll get our trees around this as well, because it's got to be fancy. A little something like that. And that's honestly not so bad. The only problem is going to be connecting it to this guy, because this intersection is now going to be even messier. Well, actually, no, we might not be connecting it to that. I don't know why I keep obsessing over the idea that we're connecting to this guy, because we're probably not going to, because the fire headquarters is going to go in here as well. And what I'm thinking I'm going to do with the fire headquarters, this is where we might actually connect this together, is a little road like this, and then it can live sort of sideways like this. And I don't mind that, although I will say I'm sort of missing having some of these buildings up against the university. So the fire headquarters, I want to say, can go somewhere else. I think we're taking away too much from around the university. I don't think it quite has the same impact as being like in the super downtown area. So yeah, I think the police headquarters is fine. I do want to extend this. I want to get the extra jails, maybe. I think the garage extension we can 100% do. I think the helipad we can 100% do. How many jail cells are on this thing? There's 31 vehicles, 100. Okay. And this will add how many? 50. You know what? I don't think we need it. We're going to build a prison at some point anyway, so I think we're okay not extending this thing any further. So in that case, we can just connect across here, which gives us some zoning in that space. Can I build this up to here? Oh, that's such a nasty intersection. That is a really nasty looking intersection, but you know, I think I'm going to allow it. We're going to have this weird gap on the corner that I don't love that. I really don't love the gap on that corner, but it is going to let me build around the university again. And I do think that's going to be important. So we are 100% going to be doing that. I can fill this space in with another park. We could make this a park, but I think the zoning's important. And I'm almost debating whether or not it should be more towers. And part of me feels like it should. So let's play around with that idea. Let's do a little bit. Let's take over some of this land. So we'll take out you guys. I'm just going to bulldoze all of these so I can really see what I'm doing here. We'll take out all of this zoning. And let's say this corner is going to be a 5x5 North American residential tower. And then this corner is going to be a 5x5 European residential tower. And that'll be fine, I guess. Oh, do I want it to be that way? I think I do. I think this one's going to be a little 6x6 residential tower. And we can do a North American one behind it. We'll do a North American 6x6 here as well, sort of across the street from it. The rest of this could probably be... The rest of this probably should be towers as well, shouldn't it? Maybe we do some offices. We have got the demand for it. I want to split this up. I want to mix it up a little bit. It doesn't make too much sense, but I do want to mix it up. We could do some lower density stuff, actually, now that I think about it. Let's play around with this a little bit. Oh, there we go. That is so much better having those buildings in behind the university. I'm really, really pleased with this, actually. I think that's a much better looking skyline than we have on this side. Not that it's a competition or anything. Just I think this one with the mix of buildings and the different heights and all that stuff just really, really comes together. I'm really pleased with it, actually. And it should eventually start to reduce the amount of crime in the area. We do still have a lot going on. And that's, I think, largely because, for one, we have a parking lot here with a lot of people coming and going. We have a lot of pedestrians using these trams. Like, seriously, the trams on this road are crazy busy at times. We've got 23,600 people using the trams around here. And that is, if we have a look, I'm pretty sure we can see, if we look at our trams specifically, yeah, there's a lot of that. A lot of that is on tram line 3, which is our yellow line that runs into here and runs along this main road. So that's good. That's what we want. Over a third of our population, I think, is now using or about a third of our population is using the trams, which is absolutely fantastic news. It's very, very good. If we could get a few more of them using them, though, we might have fewer problems here. And I'm realizing, actually, this is a terrible location for a parking lot because the cars have to come out and they are right at an intersection. So I hate to do it, but bye-bye. We are not keeping you. It is not worth the headache of dealing with all those cars. Is there something else I could put in there? Do we have like a small park? We do. We do have a small park that would fit in there really, really nicely, actually. And we can set it back from the road too, which means we have these lovely paths going right up to the road. We have this right in the middle. And it means I can do a little bit of detailing around this, even if it's in the shadow of a tower. We can still do a little something to make this look nice. I'm also noticing the tree. Oh, it's fall already. Good Lord. This is the one thing, right? In City Skylines 1, I had the problem of constantly pausing the game when I would do things. I'm kind of learning, and I have kind of learned not to do that as much. But now that I'm not doing it as much, it means that the seasons are changing. It feels like really, really quickly, even if they're not changing, all that quickly. It does feel like they are, which is pretty cool, honestly. I like all of them. I don't love the snow. I'm going to be honest. The snow, it's not that I don't like it. I love snow in real life. I don't love it in cities. I don't know. I was thinking the novelty wouldn't wear off quite all that quick the way it did in, how do I want to phrase this? I feel like City Skylines Snowfall, the expansion that brought snow to the first game, I feel like the novelty kind of wore off after a while, right? You're like, snow's cool, but whatever. I was thinking it wouldn't wear off in this game because you only have it for a sort of quarter-ish of the year, but yeah, I don't know. I think the next map that I pick might have a slightly different climate where maybe there's a bit less snow. That might not be a terrible idea. That said, this is very pretty. All of the orange leaves, the red leaves, the yellow. It's really, really pretty around here. I really like that. Good Lord. Now, interestingly, death care still seems to be a bit of an issue, and I'm wondering if that's because we're having trouble getting the hearses to where they need to be. I mean, if we look at things, coverage is pretty good. Healthcare availability is all right. It could be better. It does seem like the crematoriums are starting to fill up a little bit, though, so I almost wonder if we should look into building another crematorium over here, because I realize we have a central cemetery, we have a crematorium over here, but I don't think we have any death care at this end of the city. And so it might not be a bad idea. Maybe we turn sort of a little space in here into a space for a crematorium. So I'm going to tear out these buildings. I'm doing a lot of this today, and I don't know if I feel good or bad about it, but we'll tear out these buildings. We'll get ourselves a nice little road that sort of comes through to here, and that'll be totally fine. We'll actually just bring it right up to about, you know what? We'll just have it where it was, actually. We'll not overdo this. Can I go a bit further? I can. Do I like that? It'll do. It's probably not safe, but it'll do. It gives me the nice bit of zoning there. And then in terms of death care, we wanted to snap to the roads. And I mean, honestly, here's the thing about this. Here's the thing. It's I don't want to put it right up against the train tracks. I'm going to put it here, I think, is where I'm going to put it. And then what we'll do is get the additional incinerator. We'll get the hearse. Oh, this actually fits really nicely. And we'll do the storage as well. So we'll max this thing out a little bit. That's not a terrible place for it, I don't think. I think that's honestly okay. And then what we'll do is something similar to what we've done elsewhere. We can bring a path sort of behind this, down alongside and down to here. So you can sort of walk around it. We'll have a path going here, a path going to there as well. And then I can dot some trees around it, make it into something nice. And honestly, I'm kind of considering tearing out all of these buildings and just extending some roads out kind of similar to that one. So we just fill up this space. I don't think the train tracks are going to be staying here. I will say that the train tracks are probably going to be going, but I don't mind this too much. And I think what we can also do is maybe a little bit of EU medium density housing in here, just to make things sort of interesting, just to shake it up a little bit. So we'll zone all of this. We will zone all of you. That should fill relatively quickly. That also got me a signature building. I haven't played around with any of those yet, but that's okay. This, at the very least, should give us a nice amount of death care over at this end of the city. A lot of people have been displaced. Honestly, not really too worried about it. Let's just go ahead and get ourselves some poplar trees to line this space the way we always do. We'll go a little bit light on them this time. Just maybe 5 there should be all right. And then maybe 4 sort of in this space should be fine. Maybe a little heavier on them, sort of, but can I put them along a road? Wait, is that a thing I can do? Or is that along the building? What is that snapping? Is that a thing? Can I snap trees to roads? Is if I put grass, I'm not actually going to let people park on this road anyway. But no, it just snaps to the road. That's odd. Wait, why is it snapping to the road though? That is really, okay. I might be missing something really obvious there about why it does that. I feel like I should have noticed it. Anyway, we'll go a little bit heavier in the trees along the train tracks. And I think what I might do is line the trees along all of the residential buildings as well, just so there's a bit of a natural sound barrier. And even though we're going to be getting rid of this track, I do kind of like this. I think it looks pretty good. We might end up replacing the track with some roads or something like that at some point, but for the time being, this is a decent little spot, a decent little space. It does everything that I want it to do. And again, it should provide some death care to this end of the city. And so the last complaint that I want to have a look at is the healthcare one. Now, annoyingly, of course, as soon as I come to talking about this, there's no one complaining about ambulances or anything like that. But we have had a few people complaining about it here and there. There have been some issues with healthcare. And in fairness, we have a hospital down here. We have no healthcare facilities at this end of the city at all. We actually don't have any healthcare facilities outside of the middle of the city, which in fairness to City Skylines 2 is sort of the point. If your road networks are solid, then emergency vehicles can kind of get to wherever they need to go. It's just that my road networks are not all that good, as we can see. They tend to back up a little bit. So I kind of want to get a healthcare facility in here. We could also lean into getting something like the medical university, which is going to improve hospital efficiency citywide. This thing is just so huge that I feel like it could be almost an episode unto itself, kind of like what we did last time with the university. And I don't really want to do that today. Today is about, well, we started by fixing the garbage problem, which thankfully seems to have more or less resolved itself. We still are producing more per month than we're processing, but it doesn't seem to be an issue. It will be eventually. And there we go. Now we're having complaints about healthcare. So let's get some kind of healthcare facility up here. I just don't know if it's going to be a hospital or if it's going to be a little clinic. Honestly, the hospital sort of fits perfectly into one of these spaces, which is annoying because I was going to build something not necessarily complex for a hospital, but boom, there we go. We've got a hospital up here that just fit absolutely perfectly. The only downside, I suppose, is upgrading it. We'll give it a helipad. We can give it a special, what does this actually do? Specialized treatment helps citizens in the hospital service area remain healthier. Let's do that. We've had a lot of people getting sick up here. And a trauma center, what does this do? Increase the chances that a patient recovers from their condition. Sure, we'll do that as well. So we have a fully upgraded hospital at this end of the city now, which is absolutely fantastic. We probably did just, yep, we absolutely did displace a lot of Sims, a lot of whom are going to the trams because of course they are. Oh my God. I feel like we kind of need to, I feel like we need more trams on that line, to be quite honest with you. We've got 12 on there right now. We've got 1,100, almost 1,200 passengers. I don't know. That's a lot of people wanting to get out of there. There's not that many up here, and this tram is actually not full. It's about to be. It's absolutely about to be. Are you full? No. So this is all people wanting to get out of here, is what it is. Although that's also a really good tram stop for next to the hospital. I didn't even mean to do, I wasn't even paying attention to that, but that's actually the perfect spot for the hospital. Okay. I'm kind of here for it. I'll tell you what we'll do then. Let's go ahead and just expand this way a little bit further. I'm not really wanting to go much further with this grid that we've been building because it's a little, well, it's a little uninspired, isn't it? But we'll go a little bit further. We'll go in here. We'll get ourselves some regular roads and let's go for 224. We'll do 224 here as well. Do I want to go for another 224? I think we will, and I think we will do a one-way road for this one. So 224 to here, we can cut straight across to here. So the way out of there is going to be looping around, which is fine. And this is probably about as far as this is going to go. Although I will say that we can maybe cut out here and we'll just keep that road there for the time being. So that flashing blip is going to be there for a bit. I'm not really too worried about it for the time being. And I suppose we can zone this with stuff. Although I do think getting a parking lot in here might not be a bad idea, even if it's an underground one, even if it's an overground one, to be completely honest with you. Would it fit? Annoyingly, no. Would it be nice if it did, but we could put it over here. I don't think we need to put it over there. I do think a little parking lot would be good, though. I think a little underground parking lot right in there, it fits perfectly. Right across from the hospital is probably a good idea. Gonna be a very busy road, though, I think, and I might want to go so far as getting rid of parking along some of these roads, but that'll be okay. What we'll do is get a little path that cuts through here, and then this, I mean, we could just zone it completely if we wanted to. We could do a park in there if we wanted to. I sort of like the idea of doing some parks and rec stuff in here simply because we haven't done too much of it around this space. So something like a large plaza fits in there really nicely. I might put it on the one-way road though, just because I can. And that does provide a lot of happiness for a lot of people in there. So actually this was probably, ooh, it's on a hill though. I don't love that. Can I move you into here? Is that an option? Yeah, I don't think it's going to be. No, it's a little bit too big. Okay. Oh, do I want to flatten this out for a park? I think I do. And you know, as simple as this is, I think it will do the job. Now, what I've zoned in here is a mix of things. We've got some mixed use stuff going on here. We have some medium density North American residential in here. We've got some low rent residential in here, and I think in here as well. And then around the outside is more medium density North American residential zoning. So there's a little bit of commercial. It's mostly residential. It's dealt completely with the high density demand that was going on. And honestly, I would be tempted to say that since we have this middle space here, we'll rezone that with more medium density and we'll sort of push the lower rent stuff to the edges and into this middle space. And I'm kind of excited to see how this turns out. It's going to be good to have a little bit of, leisure here for everybody in this space. And what I also like about what we've done today is that it has slightly broken up the very tedious look of this entire space. It's still kind of, urban sprawl, but it's got some shape to it. It's got a skyline to it now, which I really, really enjoy. And I really like how this looks. I like the mix. I do like that the low rent buildings are just a tiny bit taller as well. It breaks things up. It stops it from looking completely level and identical. That's why we've got a little bit of just regular commercial zoning back there before the high rises. And I think somewhere in here, at least we used to have some low rent housing as well. I might have got rid of it in favor of some towers, which is, there's probably there's a commentary in there somewhere, but we'll not get into it. I like this though. I think this is good. I think it's a really good development. Now, I think there's one last thing that we can probably build before we wrap things up for today, because I'm noticing that there is still a lot of crime going on in this space. And that thing is going to be a welfare office, because we have built one of these before. We have one all the way over here by the lower density stuff, but a welfare office essentially helps the less fortunate by increasing well-being in the surrounding neighborhood. So it means that if anyone's a little bit poor or they're having a tough time or they're struggling, the welfare office is going to be here for them. And that, I think, is going to be good. It means that we should see a little bit less crime in all of these spaces. Now, I think what I'm going to do is go and take out some of these buildings, because I think the welfare office will fit really nicely in that corner. At least I hope it will. I don't think it actually will. Yeah, it's going to be intersecting that diagonal road back there, and I don't really want to have to rebuild that road. We have this corner here, though, which is probably fair enough. So we'll tear out some of these newly built buildings, which I'm sure they're going to be thrilled about. They just got settled and we just knocked it down. And the welfare office, I think, can go, I'm going to say right about there. Should be totally fine. A little bit of a hill. That's honestly all right. There's no upgrades for it either. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and just bring a road sort of around the back of this thing. And we'll get some zoning on it as well, just to change it up a little bit. It's also, I don't think, going to be a one-way road. I don't think there's any need for that. So it'll be a two-way road right there. This one-way road sort of continues up and around, which is totally fine. And then what we can do is go ahead and just say North American medium density zoning on those guys. Oh, the game crashed. Of course it did. Of course. What? It had to get one more, didn't it? Had to have one more. There we go. Now we have ourselves a welfare office that's hopefully going to help people that are a little bit less fortunate in these districts. Although, speaking of these districts, I want to go ahead and just extend them a little bit so that we can actually say that the welfare office is just going to cover these districts as opposed to the entire city, since that's kind of the point of this welfare office in general. So we'll take you out of there. That covers that way. I kind of wonder if districts are set up in such a way that buildings, like, does a building have to be in the district to be covered? I know it did in City Skylines 1, but I wonder if that's the case in City Skylines 2, because if that's the case, then this district kind of needs to look like this rather than what I'd like it to look like. So that's going to be something I'm going to have to experiment with, I think. But for now, we'll play it safe and we'll just do a little bit of that. I'd like this to kind of come over though. I want my, I don't want this to snap to existing geometry. I want it to be a nice, I really want it to be a nice little right angle here if I can get one. There we go. So that covers those buildings. That covers those buildings. Emerson Square is pretty good. And then this district down here is probably fine as well. I think, yeah, I think we'll say that this is going to cover Emerson Square and Hawthorne Grove. And it probably could cover some space in and around the university as well. But for now, we'll just leave it be and say that it's going to cover those two districts. And that, did I just said, no, that's a hospital. I just said, no. Welfare office is covering these spaces. The hospital can cover the entire city. The welfare office covers these guys, and that'll be perfectly fine. So that, I think, is a decent little expansion. We're up to 75,000 people. We're down to $74 million. We're spending $2 million a month, or rather that's our balance is negative $2 million a month. Our expenses are $8.3 million. So we could probably take taxes back up to 5%. I'm not really, like I've said, I'm not really all that concerned about, our money and whatnot, but we'll bring them up a little bit. People have had a really good time for the last while, right? They've had a really good time with low taxes for the past however long. We can crank them a little bit, and I think we can get away with it. Okay, so one last thing might have been wishful thinking. I have done one other thing, and that is add a new bus line. We now have a bus line that stops in front of the central bank. It basically goes the entire way around this university and all these new districts. So it then comes over and stops here. It then comes up along this diagonal road and has a stop in there as well. It comes along and has a stop next to the welfare office right about here. It has a stop just next to, wait, where does that have a stop? We've got the hospital here. We have another stop just in here, which is fantastic. It's by the hospital. It's by the park. It comes down. It has another stop here somewhere. I think it's right about here, which is going to be very busy by the looks of it. Good Lord. That is a lot of people. That is a lot of people going for those buses, but that's good. That's what we're looking for. And then I think it just loops around back towards the central bank. So that's going to help get people, you know, in and around that district via a route that the trams don't take. The trams sort of go up and in. This one sort of goes around, which I think is sort of the point. That's sort of what we're looking for. We want the trams and the buses to service different areas, different roads, different streets, all that good stuff. So that is what they're doing. And that is gonna do us for today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. It has been an absolute pleasure as always. I'm so pleased with how this is coming together. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.